Pretty amazing.
Okay, you need to sit down for this one, because what just happened inside Windsor Castle is the moment royal commentators have been waiting 25 years to talk about. Princess Diana's official portrait, after more than 2 decades of being hidden away in palace storage, has been quietly, deliberately, beautifully restored to its rightful place inside the Hall of Matriarchs at Windsor, right next to the late Queen Elizabeth, right where Diana should have been all along. And the 2 royals who pulled it off in complete secrecy were Prince William and Princess Anne. Camilla had no idea it was happening. She was deliberately, strategically, kept out of the loop until it was too late. And palace watchers are calling this the most emotional, most symbolic, most quietly devastating royal moment in modern history. Devastating royal moment in modern history. The British public has waited 25 years to see this. Tonight, it finally happened. And honestly, they might be underselling just how big this is. Here's what you have to understand about why this matters so much. After Diana died in 1997, palace insiders say her portraits were quietly pulled from the most prominent ceremonial spaces inside the royal residences. The official explanation was always logistical. The real reason, according to palace watchers, was Camilla. As her relationship with Charles became more public, then more official, then a full marriage, Diana's visible presence inside the royal family slowly disappeared. Patronages reassigned, photographs relocated, and the Hall of Matriarchs at Windsor, the most sacred space for royal women, never even received Diana's portrait. For over 20 years, that wall has carried a glaring absence, the most beloved royal of the modern era, missing from her own family, and William has been waiting for years to fix it. Palace insiders say William has been quietly planning this restoration for a long time. Years of briefings with senior aides, quiet consultations with palace archivists, private meetings with curators about portrait protocol. He commissioned a full review of the Hall of Matriarchs. He requested historical records on every previous portrait placement. He made sure every single institutional protocol was followed perfectly so that no one could legally challenge the restoration once it happened. Commentary: the guy has been playing a 20-year chess game inside his own family, and his most important move just happened this week. He brought his mother home, back to the wall where she belongs. But William did not do this alone. He needed someone with the authority and the will to actually pull it off. And there was only one royal in the entire family who fit that description. Princess Anne. Anne, who never warmed to Camilla. Anne, who quietly disapproved of how the royal family treated Diana during her lifetime. Anne, who has been the disciplined backbone of the monarchy for decades. She has reportedly become William's most trusted ally inside the palace. The 2 of them have been working together for months on this restoration. Quiet meetings that did not appear on the official royal diary, unscheduled calendar entries, private consultations with palace staff. Commentary: Anne is the only royal in the entire family with the institutional authority to override Camilla, and the personal disgust toward her to actually do it. And this week, palace insiders say William and Anne finally made their move. What happened next will be remembered for generations. According to multiple witnesses, the portrait of Princess Diana was brought into the Hall of Matriarchs in the early evening hours, when the gallery was closed to all but a handful of trusted staff. Princess Anne oversaw the placement personally. The portrait that had been buried in palace storage for over 20 years was carefully removed from its protective wrapping. The frame was prepared. The placement was confirmed, and within 90 minutes, Diana's portrait was hung directly beside the late Queen Elizabeth's. 2 queens, side by side. One who reigned for 70 years, one who never had the chance to reign at all, right where they always should have been together. I cannot get over this. Diana is back on that wall, where she belongs, right next to the woman she loved most in the entire royal family. And one of the staff members reportedly heard Anne quietly say to herself, "She belongs here. She always did." That is the line that closes a 20-year wound for the entire British monarchy. Meanwhile, Camilla had no idea any of this was happening. She was outside London on a scheduled engagement, deliberately timed by William's team to keep her away. She returned to the palace the next morning, expecting a normal day. She walked in. She heard the news. And palace insiders say her reaction was immediate and severe. She was furious. She demanded the portrait be removed at once. She demanded an emergency meeting with William. She demanded Charles intervene on her behalf. She demanded an explanation from the palace staff who had carried out the restoration. One of those demands was refused. Every single one. For the first time in her entire royal career, Camilla was completely, institutionally powerless inside her own home. And then came the most devastating part of all. The part she never saw coming. Her own husband, Charles, refused to defend her. The husband who had spent decades defending her place inside the royal family. The man who fought to make her his queen consort against the will of the British public. The king who had stood by her through scandal after scandal. He looked at his wife and said nothing. He let his son's decision stand. He let his sister's actions go unchallenged. He let Diana's portrait remain on that wall. And in that single moment of silence from her own husband, Camilla reportedly understood that her time at the center of this family is over, permanently. Charles has chosen the institution. He has chosen his son. He has chosen his late mother's legacy. And he has chosen to honor Diana. The wife he wronged decades ago has finally been given the place inside the palace that she always deserved. And then Princess Anne walked into the room. According to palace insiders, Anne reportedly delivered the news to Camilla face to face. She did not raise her voice. She did not soften the blow. She simply said 5 words. It is what Diana deserved. That is it. No apology. No explanation. No softness. Just the truth. The same truth that the British public has known for 25 years. Diana deserved to be on that wall. She deserved to be honored. She deserved to be remembered as one of the most important women in the modern history of the monarchy. And it took until now for the royal family to finally admit it out loud. And the takeover is not even slowing down. Since the restoration, palace insiders report that royal patronages tied to Diana's legacy are being quietly reactivated under Catherine's office. Charities Diana once championed are being prioritized in William's official engagement schedule. The royal family's official communications have begun mentioning Diana's name and her contributions, more in the past 2 weeks than they did in the past 2 years combined. Camilla, meanwhile, has been quietly removed from several upcoming public engagements. Her name is appearing less in palace press releases. This is not a one-night moment. This is a complete reshaping of the royal family's entire identity. He was 15 years old when he walked behind his mother's coffin. 15. And palace watchers say from that day forward, William carried one quiet promise inside him, that when his time came, when he finally had the power, he would honor his mother. This week, with Princess Anne by his side, he kept that promise. Diana is back on that wall. Camilla is out of the room where decisions are made. And William finally did what he had been preparing for his entire adult life to do. Diana would be so proud of the man and king he is becoming. Which moment of this story moved you the most? Diana's portrait restored? Anne's 5 words? Charles's silence? William finally keeping his promise? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe to Inside the Palace Wall, because the next chapter is coming. Trust me.